Today we're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 again. Now, we did talk about, I talked about the other day, there's been some problems with my system. Now, just, full disclosure, I have a $2,000 computer. And anytime I see the big leaguers playing, they're playing on them $5,000 computers. So the $5,000 computers could probably ignore things that my little $2,000 one cannot. If you have one that's less than that, you may have even less problems because I have a 4070 Ti, which is pretty good. It's not a 4090, but it also is probably not going to catch fire. And Cyberpunk is still, they are pushing their partners to the limit. I mean, they like partners, and I don't know if it's a prestige thing or what, but I mean, realistically, they have one of the best graphical systems, and they've also got, they added a bunch of new stuff, and that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is the graphical stuff, because the graphical stuff is what I think I was having an issue with, and I think I tracked it down for the most part. I think there's still some other things on it, and I definitely know that there's going to be some sort of a patch down the road, but it might be a small enough subset of us that are having that problem. I don't believe for 1 second I'm the only one. I have not heard anybody else report that, but what I have heard reported, and I think my problem is related to that, is that the FPS is just like complete crazy, and it is. I ended up installing Cortez, Razer Cortez, because that's a software you can use to, like, when you have a machine that doesn't have as, maybe it only has 32 gig of RAM or whatever, you can run this Cortez and it'll turn everything off, so that basically the only things that are running are essential to the game itself, not to the computer. And it also has this other FPS tracker thing that is kind of new. I can't remember the name of it. I'll try to remember to look it up, because right now none of that stuff's turned on. None of it's turned on. I don't have Cortez on. I don't have MSI Afterburner on. All of them have been like tripping with this, when I load Cyberpunk. So I did a full diagnostic on my computer. I've rebooted a billion times. I even did a repair install after I did a fresh install. I mean, I did a lot of stuff trying to figure this out, and I think what I figured out will maybe be helpful to some people if they are having this problem. Now, I'm not saying that this is widespread. I'm not saying this is the only problem. I'm just saying there's some things that I think that they're gonna look at. You can see that's my FPS tracking for like 2 days, and you can just see it is like wah, 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 wah. And I think that like, if you see the peak, 969, that's great. And that was on medium settings, okay? And I'm not running any of the setting stuff in the game, so I'm not running any of the boosts for any of the video, okay? I don't need that because I have a pretty good machine. Yeah, I could turn on the ray tracing. I don't even care about all. The other problem is that the game's running hot, so I don't have my temperature thing on right now, but technically it runs around 80 Celsius, which on medium, that's high. And it was even doing that on low settings. So yeah, there's some shenanigans going on, right? And then I thought, well, maybe it's the radio. So, because the radio just comes on and off whenever the hell it wants. I mean, it doesn't matter what state you had it in or anything like that. It just goes on and off whenever it wants. I wish there was I haven't found one yet, but I wish there was a button just to completely disable that system, because that system it's totally immersion breaking for me. And I don't know who wanted that or why they want to listen to the radio. Streamers typically can't listen to the radio because if there's copyrighted music, they'll get flagged. So they're not going to turn that stuff on anyway. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of that as well today. Under the sound tab, okay, you can turn the radio volume to 0. Now, it doesn't fix the problem of it just coming on and off, because you'll still see it down there on the bottom left screen coming on and going off and coming on, and you can still hit Z and turn it off or whatever, but it doesn't make any noise. Now, there are still radio things going on in the game. There are still radios that play. There's still music that plays. Everything still works fine. It's just that the stupid radio won't keep coming on and off without you. Every single streamer has this turned on, disable copyrighted music. So that stuff doesn't play anyway. So if you're like not streaming it, not recording it, and whatever, because even if you record something and it's got that music in it, there's certain music, not all of it. There's a lot of free music, and a lot that they've gotten like YouTube to okay it. Like I think the Grime song where Lizzie Wizzy sings the Grime song, "Delicate Weapon." That one seems to be okay on YouTube, but it's not okay on TikTok. I tried it. And then I found out there was a BD that showed a better version than the one I recorded. So, oh, there it is. Maximum FPS. Now that was off by default. So you can turn that on, okay? And then you can set the value here, and you can go as high as you want. But what I'm trying to do is I was trying to stabilize the situation so it doesn't crash so much. Now I don't know why it would, like it's a 4070 Ti, so it's not like it should have any real issues. I can turn on all the toys, okay? I can turn on all the path tracing, ray tracing, blah 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 for a short run. You don't want to run it like that all the time. You're gonna burn your... If you had more than one love interest, yes, they will all call you and you can see them, wherever, whenever. I don't know for sure if they stop calling you, if you ignore them or just blow them off or whatever, how many times or what, if that even counts. Also the car hacker thing, oh my god, that thing is funny. But yeah, and when you it's hard to get away from MaxTac once you get to level 5. They call you Cyber Psycho and all this stuff. So there's a lot of great stuff, and as you can see from this stream that I did today, I didn't have any crashes. But that was with the fixes that I mentioned earlier. So if you didn't see those, check it out at the beginning. I went over the fixes that I chose. I think I still have issues, but and I still think there's going to be a patch, at least for that radio. But I showed you how to turn off the radio. I showed you how to do the other stuff, and yeah, that should be enough if you have a computer that can even run a lot of the stuff. Because I think the thing is that leaving the FPS open-ended on a fast system is probably not needed, and maybe it doesn't, but the game's not telling me why it's crashing. But I know that it did crash no matter what I did, no matter how far down I turned the graphics, no matter what I did. And now with those changes I made, my computer, even with all that we were just doing, it's blowing cool air. So it's definitely better with with the limiter on the FPS to 60. 100% better. I mean, if you want to run something high, you can put the FPS up pretty high too, so you can have it go as high as you want, but don't leave it unlimited. Obviously maybe on a $10,000 computer that doesn't matter, but on the $2,000 one it does. Maybe on lower ones it doesn't. So I'm just going to say, I'll stick by my guns and I say there's going to be a patch, but now I don't feel it's as critical. But I think people need to be aware to turn that damn limiter on if you start running into problems. I don't see, unless you just can't get any FPS at all, there's no reason to leave it really unlimited. If your computer's slow, it's probably just, you know what I mean, it's just, there's no setting you can turn on to make it just all better. It needs an optimization pass for sure on the video stuff, and I'm positive that they're going to continue to do that. And like I said, Cyberpunk, the guys over at CDPR have done a really good job. They basically barraged us with so many things that it's impossible to cover everything. And I don't think a lot of people are going to, just because, right now CDPR is just getting a whole ton of praise, and they probably, for morale reasons, probably deserves it. I hope that they, continue working on this game.